Hi, I wanted to share a problem I recently had with my 1.6 CVH that I want everyone to know about who owns these, works on these, drives these, etc. So I'm on the bottom side of the block, the 1.6 block. This is a plastic Ford baffle that Ford puts right in this last cavity by cylinder number 4 on the back side, right by the oil filter. And it's made to keep oil from going up inside this port that's plugged. You can see there's an open port to the right. That's just a normal oil port, but to the left it's supposed to be a breather port that's plugged up with carbon, as you can or can't see. It's that right there. It's just a nasty pile of gunk. And looking at it closer, see that there's a fair amount of looks like metal shavings down in there. But I've looked all over my engine and everything seems to be okay. And then all this outside is just oil, wet oil, and a lot of it. On the other side here, you can see that it's built up so far that you can't even see the frost plugs. But back to what the video is about. This is a bung for the breather tube. So on the block right next to the oil filter, there's a bung for a breather tube, and it's just a rubber hose that goes from this breather bung to the top right corner of the valve cover. So then all of the crankcase ventilation can travel up inside the valve cover, and then I think it later gets sent into the PCV, but I might be wrong. I just know that this is supposed to move air from that spot to the other. You can see that mine's been plugged. I don't know for how long, but it is definitely plugged. I've been told it's from blow-by, but I'm not totally sure. That's definitely something worth looking into. You can ram a screwdriver from the top side down, but you'll want to have your oil pan off so none of it's accumulating inside your sump. And of course, while you're in there, it's a good idea to clean off this baffle before you stick it back in. It's supposed to be orientated like this, so that Ford reads towards you when you're looking at it from the side. And you can see how this has a fair amount of carbon buildup on it too. But that was quite alarming. And what happens a lot is the hose gets so brittle, it gets hard as a rock. You can see that mine broke off here. I broke it off trying to remove it, and it was so hard that I was leaking oil out of the bottom of it. I was also leaking oil out of the top of it by the valve cover. The hose was just so ridiculously hard, and it started cracking where it was bending. Because if we can tilt the camera around, if you can picture this, the hose comes from down here, comes up towards the valve cover and makes about a 100-degree bend. And it's a real tight bend. It looks just like this. If my finger goes up to the bung and my thumb goes in towards the valve cover, it's a pretty tight turn. So over time, as it gets hot, it gets hard, and then it cracks, and then it leaks. So the thing to do is, no matter what state your engine is in, you should definitely take this hose off and replace it with a much softer silicone hose. You only need a couple feet of it. Here. So this is the tube I was talking about. You can see that it snaps off right there. It's got a little bend to go around the dipstick, but you wouldn't necessarily need to have that bend there. Just standard straight flexible hose is fine. See, it's got that massive curve at the bottom. In mine, for whatever reason, someone had inserted a bung that slides inside the bung of the valve cover, so it's redundant to say the least, but it's so insanely hard I can't even get this guy out without needing vice grips. You know, that's that tight bend. It's hard as a rock. I can hardly bend it on my knee. And same down here. But that's the part number. E1EE6K869BP, or a BB motorcraft part. But highly recommend replacing this, no matter if it's original. Just take care of it. That's about all there is to that. Just something to keep in mind.